Witch of the Machines was certainly a fun set to open. With a special multiversal Legends of Madness slot, it allowed you to open tentpole uncommons in draft, or powerful rares that would make the draft format interesting. Or for some people, suck. People didn't like the high variance of the multiversal slot. As well as giving you extra stuff for limited, there was plenty of cool stuff to find, explore the game through, experiment with, and then once you've opened, check on the secondary market to realise it was worth nothing, tra-la-la. Draft boosters, set boosters, collector boosters, they all had quite interesting stuff in them. Something I want to see going forward. I think one of the downsides for the Lord of the Rings set, that this video is quite late to this party, but Lord of the Rings just released, and I think opening draft boosters is significantly less exciting because there isn't a special slot. You can open the full art treatments on uncommons and rares and stuff, and alternate art treatments of course, but there isn't that extra spice that you'd get in All Will Be One. Something that I enjoyed. I like the retro frames in Brothers War as well, and I like Mystical Archives and Strixhaven. I just really like having this in our draft environments and in all the booster types, not just collector boosters, but also in the old school draft boosters. And if you want to pick up single product or sealed product for any set really, Cool Stuff Inc. sponsors the channel. Use the link in the description below, the code KENOBI at checkout to get 5% off your order. These were so exciting you can get anything in them, even a boat. I heard boat related injuries went up by 180% upon the release of All Will Be One. Oh boy, oh geez, let's see what's in this set booster. I really hope it's a Ragavan. Please, I need a Ragavan. Oh my god! The Legends across the multiverse slot, the multiversal Legends slot, whatever the hell you want to call it, is particularly exciting because of the frame treatments we saw. Each one that you could get would come in a normal frame, but also in a frame treatment from their original plane. Each one of the reprinted Legends from a different plane would come in a frame that was unique to their plane. Meanwhile, rares in the set could be printed in their in-frame normal treatment, like here with Hazaret, or in this treatment that harkened back to the setting from which they came. This meant that we broke with the tradition of Kaladesh masterpiece frames being only in artifacts, and instead we now arbitrarily claim they could be on anything from Kaladesh. I'm unsure about where I sit on this, liking the thematic simplicity that a masterpiece frame means this is an artifact in-game. You look across the board from your board to someone else's in Commander and you can see Kaladesh inventions and know they're artifacts, much like the actual artifact frame does. Call me old-fashioned, but having a gameplay function to the visual elements of my card game is nice. But that said, the masterpiece Ragavan does look pretty sexy, so I'm a little bit torn there. Let's also allow the fun folks at Wizards of the Coast to absolutely fuck with us by including another card that begins with R in the same frame. Oh boy! I sure hope it's not another boat. If you're noticing that I'm opening All Will Be One and not March boosters, it's because I didn't have any March boosters to hand, so fuck you. I think this slot is really fun. I love Mystical Archives in Strixhaven, I love the retro frames in Brothers War, and I love this. The inclusion of these special slots does 100% increase the excitement for me of opening packs, but also playing in a limited environment where it can feel a bit more akin to Cube or Chaos Drafting, where special things will just show up and make the games interesting. Sometimes it's a little bit swingy, sometimes it'll make the games a bit more higher in variance, but I'm okay with that as a small downside to a massive upside. Immerty, Celebrant of the Bounty, a Naga druid originally printed in Commander Legends, but very clearly from visual design, the fact that she's a Naga, she's from Amonkhet. So come multiversal party time, we got to see them defending Amonkhet from the Phyrexians. This also meant we got to see them return to a frame that is much polarizing, shall we say. One of the most mocked special frame treatments of all time, the lottery card frame from the Invocation card cycle from original Amonkhet. Let's be honest, I never liked them at the time, and they've not grown on me either. I think they're really fucking ugly. But this is much worse. Let's take a look at the original Amonkhet frame real quick. The Invocation frame was universally mocked upon its release, and it's easily the most polarizing and downright revered of the masterpiece frames. From among expeditions, inventions, and invocations, it's very clear the loser in terms of audience reception and an ongoing, I guess, fondness, shall we say. One of the chief issues was readability. They attempted to go for an etched hieroglyphic look to the cards, which meant they stylized cards looked like a garbled mess, with Austere Command being perhaps the most offensive, although Consecrated Sphinx comes a close second for having a title that's unfucking readable. But the command also highlights the other issues too, where there's space in the type line. Unlike, say, even Mind Sensor, where there's creature types to take up the text, any space was also took up by faux hieroglyphics. This meant the garbled mess of pretend hieroglyphics were then messy and jumbled in with pretend hieroglyphics, and overall it just looks shite. It's busy and it's messy. It doesn't read well, and dare I say it looks cheap as shit. Further to that, they saw sense in using actual readable font for the text box, but the saturation and brightness is off on a few of them, like the command, making this an absolute nightmare to read. I'm glad they didn't go with the hieroglyphics in the text box, but it's still not the most readable card. The mana cost of something on it, like on the legendary Ketra, is just gross. It looks so flat, and these are bad. I get they're subjective, but this was an opinion held by a lot of people, the majority, I would say. Tell me in the comment section below if you disagreed, by the way. There's always one, right? The unfortunate part of all this is some of the art was some of the best we've ever seen. The Wrath of God depicting this like shot from the heavens into a pyramid and like causing a rift in the sky and the clouds. And this day's art as well is sublime. Don't worry though, legacy players love a bit of bling. This days is still currently sitting at $144 each. So the invocation cards came and went, and they became like a footnote, a meme in the history of the game. You'd see occasionally in like a glass cabinet at a large event. But with multiversal madness stuff in the March of Machine boosters, we saw a return of the frame. MOT, as well as Dajeru and Hazeret, both got one of the invocation frame treatments this time around, and both look, in my opinion, terrible. Hazeret gets away with it a little better. The mana cost and artwork have a stark contrast that is centralized as well, so it pulls it away from the border and makes it not look as bad. But MOT gets lost in the plastic-looking faux Amonkhet pillar frame of the card, and they decided to make the card text readable this time, working on feedback, which I think is good that they look to improve things based upon audience reaction. It's certainly a step up from the mess of the originals, but in doing so, I think they made the card look even cheaper, in a way you don't see Magic cards look very often. I'm gonna go and say it. I think it looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh card, and by that I mean it looks like shit. I think they overcorrected and ended up with an end product that's unremarkable and fugly. I think they should have lent more into it. I think they should have gone the other way, pushed completely to the other end of the scale, and printed cards that were purposefully illegible. I'm not talking faux hieroglyphics. I'm talking creating an entire script for the Amonkhet language, like they've done for Phyrexian and the Phyrexianized cards that we have floating around now as well. Once upon a time, being able to read a card at a tournament event or pre-release was really important, but as Magic releases more and more Phyrexian cards that are cereal boxes with a text on the back, and all sorts of other shit, metal posters, move posters, where the typeface makes it unreadable, I think we've opened that Pandora's box. We've gone past that point now, and I don't think we should do this too much, because I think readability is still important, but I think on occasion, to build your world or to develop your lore and your canon and the themes and the flavour, I think you could dip your toe into it, like they do with the Phyrexianized cards that we saw in the recent sets. Why not just lean so heavily into that we have a card that is completely eligible because the script is from an alien, a foreign world, a different land that we do not know or understand because we haven't had a chance to learn the language. Imagine then they could do fun things like releasing the text on the main mothership for people to try and learn like they've done with the Phyrexian stuff in the past. It would be a riff on the horrible eligibility of the old ones, but in a way that enriches the game world. It embraces your canon, it embraces your lore. Don't shy away from it and create these things that look like MTGO renders of frame pieces that never should have interacted and were never designed to go together or to complement one another. I genuinely believe that MOT is the ugliest Magic card in the modern game, but I'd love to hear if there's something I'm not thinking about or something you think is worse. I guess some of the secret layers might be contenders here, and there's a lot of subjectivity in this. I do understand this is not an objective fact. I just think that it's very easy to say that MOT is quite cheap, and there's something off about the frame and the text on the frame, where it was obviously never designed to really look like that. In some ways, this feels like an afterthought compared to the rest of the frames that all look gorgeous. Like, as much as you criticize the Kaladesh frame for not being on artifacts anymore, which I think I completely understand and get, it looks great on Ragavan and, where is he? And Rayav. Everyone's least favourite not quite a Ragavan. If you watched to this point in the video, thank you, because it's a video not about the latest hype things, not about Lord of the Rings or Commander Legends. It's something that I want to talk about for a while and just never got around to making the video of. So thanks for watching to this point. Tell me in the comment section below if there's something uglier than this bloody MOT, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.